What's up guys, Matt Moniz here, and this is my second Ask Me Anything video, and I just want to thank everyone on Twitter who submitted their questions. So without wasting any further time, let's just get started. And the first question comes from Canoopsy, and he asks, which of these devices are you using daily? Phone, tablet, smartwatch, laptop? Now I am using all the devices you mentioned, so I'll start with the phone. The phone that I mostly use is the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, but I did order an iPhone 6s, so that might be my new daily driver. If not, it's going to be the Galaxy Note 5. Next up is tablet, and I use an iPad Mini 2, which I use mostly for just reading and browsing the net when I'm at home. Smartwatch, right now I'm using the Pebble Time Steel. Definitely a review of this is going to be coming up in the near future, so make sure you hit the subscribe button for that. And laptop, I have a laptop, but I don't use it that often. I mostly use a desktop PC that I customize myself. So the next question comes from Ash Taylor, and his question is, which is your favorite kid? Now for those of you out there who don't know, I have two children. I have a boy named Lucas who's about to turn 1, and a daughter named Alexis who's about to turn 3. And the answer to this is quite simple. My favorite kid is the one that does a lot of this, and my least favorite kid is the one that does a lot of that. In all seriousness, I love them both equally. They're both awesome kids. So the next question comes from Miles, and he asks, what features do you like on the new iPhone 6s? Well, two things stick out to me. The first one is the 12 megapixel camera. I want to see how much better it is than the one on the last year's phone. And I also want to compare it to the one on the GS6 and the LG G4 to see how much better it is or if it's just the same. The second thing I want to try out is 3D Touch. I've heard a lot of good and bad things about it, and I want to see if it's actually a really good and useful feature. The next question comes from AGN TV, and he asks, what smartphones did you go through before you became an eminent tech YouTuber? Well, I went through a lot of smartphones, but the first smartphone that I ever owned was a Palm Trio 650. I remember buying that device, spending a lot of money on it, and being really excited to use it. After that, I jumped to BlackBerry, and I used a BlackBerry 7100 for a little while. I experimented with an HP iPac Windows mobile phone, which I didn't like. And then of course I bought an Apple 2G, an Apple 3G, and then after that I've been completely Android for the most part. Next question comes from Chris, and he asks, how do you keep such a well-groomed and uniform stubble? First of all, Chris, this is a beard, okay? Let's just get that straight. If you guys don't think so, let me know in the comments below. But in order for me to maintain this, I just do two things. One, I trim on the bottom here, and then the second thing I do is use an electronic razor to keep this really short. So the bottom line is I basically just shave. So the next question comes from Patrick, and he asks, what do you think is going to be the best smartphone of 2015 and why? So I think we've pretty much seen all the smartphones that are coming out this year except for the new Nexus phones. And I think they're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be great. First of all, for Android, I think the Note 5 and Galaxy S6 Edge Plus will be the best smartphones of 2015, and that's because they look good, have an amazing display, awesome camera, and good battery life, and they also feel pretty good in the hand. Now obviously the iPhone will be in there as well, but it's yet to be determined whether the iPhone 6s or the 6s Plus will be the better option. So the next question comes from Jermar, and he asks, with all these flagship devices being released constantly, do you think there's a wrong choice for phones outside of the UI? I definitely don't think there's a wrong choice for phones. Any phone you buy today, you're gonna get a pretty good user experience. The hardware is fast enough, and the software has been refined to the point where it doesn't matter which one you choose, you're probably not gonna complain. Now it all comes down to little things. Do you prefer a phone with a better camera? Do you prefer a phone with better battery life? Or is the software experience mostly important to you? So do you want something with stock Android or something simple like the iPhone 6 or iPhone 6s? That's what it really comes down to, but I definitely don't think you're gonna get a bad experience anymore. The next question comes from Orson Selleck, and he asks, what are your thoughts for 3D Touch? Is it the first step for next iPhones without physical home button? I definitely don't think 3D Touch is the first step without having a physical home button. I think 3D Touch is the first step to find new ways to interact with the applications and the software experience on your smartphone. It's going to be used to remove a lot of steps to get into the app and navigate the app by saving you, the user, a lot of time. I think the home button will remain on the iPhone for quite some time because people have a connection with physically pressing that button. It feels good to them, and also the fingerprint sensor is embedded inside. Now, not until fingerprint sensor technology is good enough to embed into the screen, so I really don't think the home button is going anywhere anytime soon. And the next question comes from DJ Axie D Guy. Can you lend me your old tech? No. And the last question comes from Charles, and he asks, what was your first music player, and do you still have a few VHS tapes? First of all, Charles, thank you for making me feel old by bringing up VHS. And as for a music player, the very first portable music player that I had was a Walkman. I used to love that thing. I remember making mixed tapes with it. It was just a really good product. Then I bought a Discman, which I hated because it was big and bulky. And then finally, when the iPod came out, I bought an iPod. And as to answer your question for VHS, I don't have any VHS tapes around. I find them big and bulky, and if I can avoid collecting and storing physical media, I try my best not to because I just don't like it taking up space. And that's pretty much it for all my questions. I want to thank you guys again for submitting them on Twitter. If you guys enjoyed this type of video, let me know in the comments below, and I'll definitely keep doing them. And if you want to ask me any more questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. And my link to that will be in the description down below. And I just want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. And I'll see everybody in the next video.